Morning. Welcome to episode 20 of my small account challenge. And my dog is already freaking out about something. What? What? I found his sock in between the couch. He wanted it out. Silly dog. Anyways, we're back at another week here. As I mentioned on Friday, there's a high chance I'm going to be waiting for quality setups most of the day, because we're going to be focusing on stock selection and setup selection quality to avoid over trading and to learning to filter out all the noise. Even though that there are things on the scanners moving again this morning, we have soon up over 100% here. Going to be our main priority while we continue in trader rehab. Of course, trader rehab means my max loss is 75%, what it normally is, so it's 37 bucks. I can't trade more than half size, and to focus on getting some base hits, getting some confidence back. So soon here is very thickly traded. It already has 7 million shares of volume. Just looking at the level 2. ACT is starting to cross over. Has a 4 million share float and it's a little bit cheaper. Chinese stock. Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. Never mind. Soon is a US energy stock. Up 63%. IPFX popping up here at 7 a.m., but it's much too expensive. Oh, it's going live with space deal. Public via space deal with inflection point. So I mean, it's a space catalyst, right? But it's very light volume still, and it's priced at $30. Realistically, I can't trade this. Soon selling off. Nothing particularly interesting to watch right now. One thing I noticed is that the S&P 500 dumped on Friday. Kind of just sold off all day for some reason. I'm not sure why. And before market close, it had 4 million shares of selling volume. Single 5-minute candle. Just going sideways this morning, and it even gapped up, but I don't know why the reason for that would be. Hey, Spooky. Yeah, it could be. I'm gonna try not to get caught in them this time, but I'm hoping that we get something. It is only Monday, so maybe we need some time to warm up. But Ross is starting his small account challenge today, since a lot of brokers are opening up the $2,000 account margin accounts with the PDT rule now on Monday here. So I'm curious if slowly we're going to see more volume coming in. So far, I haven't really noticed anything. I'm curious also. Last time he did a small account challenge, he did it like back in October, but he was using 6 times leverage. I don't know what leverage he's using this time, but because he was using such high leverage with just a small account, he like doubled it every single stream. And then within 2 weeks, it was already like a bigger account. So we'll see if he can do it again. Ross reminded me that this is NEX, or this is JFBR, Jeff Brands. This stock is not very good to trade. Very notorious pop and dropper. Popped up, came back down, popped up, came back down. Yeah, it does seem like that. The thing that I'm most curious about is whether pennies are going to be more in focus, because retail traders really like to trade pennies, like long biased retail traders. Kind of similar to how there's the gambling epidemic going on right now. A lot of people, especially new traders, might come into the market and like to trade penny stocks because it has that potential to buy a lot of shares and have a big payout if it goes up $1 or $2. So like this for example, like is it working because it's a penny, or like it has a 700,000, 600,000 shares, not a particularly nice stock to trade, it has no news. This first pullback would have worked up to $2. Pushes through with 1 million shares. probably what I'm gonna do on the side while I'm waiting and answering questions and stuff is I'm gonna try writing my book. Never really been a great person at multitasking, but at least it'll keep me from getting myself into bad trades while I'm waiting for stuff and watching the scanners. Most of the time, I feel like I'm just sitting here wasting time. I could be doing something else while I'm waiting. So watching 7:15. See if we get any news. This looks like it wants to reclaim VWAP, but it hasn't been particularly strong so far. And the renewable energy sector um, isn't very exciting right now because of the way it's being treated by the government. I don't think this is on my trade list right now. Seems like we have anything. I'm gonna turn off my camera and eat a muffin. I'm hungry. Soon breaks through there, the million shares of volume. High volume selling candle. Like I said, I don't know if this one's gonna pull away or anything. I mean, it's a renewable energy company. I'm just waiting for 7:30. So soon is continuing to grind higher here, but suppose it is our leading gainer up 100%. But I mean, how much higher can it go? That's the question. It does have increasing volume. I don't know. We'll see if it gives us a proper 1 minute pullback. But the question I need to ask myself every single time I'm looking at a trade here is the setup good? Or is the stock good and is the setup good? I mean, this is technically an A quality stock according to the pillars of stock selection. It is a little bit cheaper, and like I said, it's an energy producer. But it's still technically an A quality stock. It has a 4 million share float. It's our top leading gainer on the day. It has increasing volume. Last candle had 2 million shares of volume. And if this gives us a proper pullback, then MACD is positive. High volume buying, potentially low volume selling, depending on what happens when this candle closes here. So it doesn't finish its pullback. It spikes back up after it reclaims 10-second EMAs. But it does a bit of a false breakout at 250. This is a grinder, no doubt about it. Another false breakout up there. So it's 7:30. Chinese company, share purchase shares following announcement of strong revenue growth. Hong Kong company. There's a room on the daily. I think I traded this a few days ago. Yeah, it popped up on Friday, May 26th. It popped up again on June 4th. But I don't remember doing well on it. Usually a pop and dropper. I think I did trade this before, not long ago, and I lost on it. I don't think, yeah, it's going negative now, going red. Elab only up 18%. Elab likes to pop up a lot, usually not very strong. PBO popping up, but it's a Chinese company with no news, up 50% with an 11 million share float. Did get above the 200, but it's right at this daily level. There's another daily level up there. Shouldn't popping up off of the retest of VWAP. $45,000 share Mimic seller popping up on soon. Yeah, this one sold off. Typical Chinese stock. No news, Chinese stock. This one has some red flags on the 10-second between that higher volume 10-second candle, the previous topping tails on the 1 minute and the 2 minute and the 5 minute. Rehab dumped as expected and then came back up. Topping tails. But none of these stocks are safe to trade. And soon is kind of just going sideways. Nice break there on that pullback. I was 316. This doesn't seem like a place to buy a 10-second pullback. 30 seconds left on the 1 minute candle. Topping tail, 1 minute candle. 5318. Once again here, I'm not in love with this stock. It's an energy stock. Had a false breakout here. Previous topping tail as it popped up to this 316 level and then it pulled back a bit too much. The second, it kind of looks like an ABCD pattern, but this second part here kind of made a lower low. I'm not sure. MACD's close to crossing. We do have only 1 minute left on that 5-minute candle. High of 308. Maybe for a 5-minute breakout it would work. If it continues to hold. The third test of the 360 and 318 level. 40 seconds left on the 5-minute candle. And we continue to hold $3, which is interesting. Yeah, it only pops up 30 cents or 20 cents. From the point that I would have entered, 308, 234. It's kind of just a thickly traded grinder. I don't know. I was considering taking the entry there for first candle to make a new high, expecting the breakthrough. That 5-minute breakout. I mean, Ross isn't interested in this at all. He's right that it is a grindy stock that has a lot of topping tails. On the 2 minute, you can see it's got devil horns there. And it only pops up 20 cents and then pulls back. I would say that the more unexpected move was back here when it kind of bounced off of VWAP, held the 9 EMA, and then just suddenly spiked from 250 up to 316. Probably not going to happen again. Not with this type of stock, even though it is up 180%. Couple minutes to 8 a.m. One thing to note about this stock that I just noticed, um, if I were trading a different strategy, would be this would be the type of stock to trade for a moving average pullback strategy. You can see back here, it reclaimed VWAP, came back down, retested the 20 EMA, and then held the 9 EMA. Every time it retested the 20 EMA here, VWAP popped back up. So holding the 9, false break down of the 9, test the 20, pops back up. Right, it did that twice. After it did that the second time and retested the 9 and couldn't go any lower, that's when it spiked because short started capitulating because of that double bottom. But now that the move is already over up here. I guess Ross isn't going to be trading with margin. He's just trading with cash. He's going to be trading full buying power. Hey, Wrighton. Soon 310 or 350? What do you mean? You mean like for entries? I was considering an entry back here for that 5 minute breakout after it consolidated around the 3 and held 3. But um, I was never really that confident in the stock in the first place. Yeah, no, I'm not looking at entries on it right now while MACD is negative. I mean, I would have considered, like I said, a entry back here maybe, but I wasn't very confident in the stock in the first place. Soon as a renewable energy stock. So even if it has news, how much further could it go up? Just because of the context around renewable energy producers right now and the way the US government is treating them. So, you know, like it did pop, but it's also a grinder, very thickly traded stock. Difficult to get entries on it that you're going to get a significant amount out of it. Like if I got in at 310, I might have gotten 20 cents out of it. I mean, right now MACD's negative. It's going sideways. Not interested in it right now. I'm not really interested in any of these right now, actually. OCC $15. Too expensive. Volume's too light. It's just second quarter financial results on OCC. Is this blue sky? Mm, not blue sky, but it is a window from way, way back. If it breaks, it holds above 16, but higher volume selling now. So this is kind of a 5 minute ABCD pattern, sort of. I just don't like how The pivot of the ABCD is a topping tail. Once again, though, I'm not particularly confident in this stock being a grinder, being an energy producer stock, and MACD's still negative right now. Crossing positive, but it's going to be difficult to find an entry on this. Yeah, I agree. A lot of topping tails. High risk of false breakouts. An Israel biotech stock acquisition. Very cheap. I don't usually like buying stocks below $1. Also right at the 200 moving average right now. 6 million share float. 200 moving average is 103. Typically don't like it when a stock is hovering around the daily 200 moving average like this. Short sellers get very aggressive when it's trying to hold the 200. That's closing with a big topping tail. Not interested in this one. Too cheap. Below the 200. High volume selling. that false breakout on soon. Pops up above that 316 level and then gets slammed back down. So, I mean, 12 minutes to 8:30, almost half the day past the time frame that I trade has passed, and we haven't had anything now. The market isn't quite cold, because we're still having stocks moving, but it's not really hot either. We're kind of in between right now. Somewhere between hot and cold. We're just waiting for 8:30. I don't really have anything on watch right now. Any XR? The problem I have with any XR is that um, this is its third day of continuation now. Its previous high was all the way up at 211. So actually, it's even more than that. Any XR is like likes to pop up a lot, right? Even popped up back here on the 28th. So like, you know, it's just a pop and drop stock. It's yeah, it even had a high back here at 326 from May 26th. It's pretty much just a pop and drop stock, and it doesn't have any fresh news on it, so it's not going to trade very cleanly. A lot of topping tails, it pops up, gets slammed back down. So, I mean, I don't think I'm interested in any XR. It's up 54% right now, but it's not something that is particularly safe to trade. On the daily, it's high as 70,000 because it does a bunch of reverse splits and then sells shares. That's you'll typically see this with these kind of garbage stocks is that they constantly sell off and then they do a reverse split, put out news, and then they sell shares, and that's why it ends up popping and dropping. They reverse split to maintain their listing on the Nasdaq, and then they sell shares into the moves. So most of these pops are usually just liquidity for the company to sell shares. Not very easy to trade. OCC looking to try and break out over that daily level. It breaks over that daily level, holds, and then pops up to 20. It's pretty risky though, because it's a higher price stock, $19-20. If I make a mistake on this, I can get myself smoked if I take too big of a share size. If I look at the level 2, how big are the spreads? 20 to 30 cent spreads. No, occasionally more than that. Sometimes there's I can see it over $1 a share spread. I can't trade this. It's too risky. Not while I'm in rehab. I can't get in on the ask and then risk down being $1 a share instantly if it turns around. I'm gonna just wait for 8:30. Watching 8:30, but I don't see anything yet. Ends up breaking 20. RSX. Approaching that daily level there. Has a bunch of daily levels. Cheaper. At most, you could expect like 25 cents out of a move if you get in on a pullback. Didn't this also just move recently? On light volume. Yeah, a huge bottoming tail like this. Normally a bottoming tail would be bullish, but that's a bearish bottoming tail. Way too big. My guess is that this is going to go up to 255 and then get slammed back down. I could be wrong though. Going. Yeah, you were right. Watching on 3. Oh no, it's all good. Yeah, so it popped up to 3, then popped up to 350, and then another big topping tail. Ross took a trade on this in his main account. I have that candle was 362. I mean, this is a little bit of a tweezer top. Definitely not an easy trade. You're right if you said watch 3, or this pullback right here. It's not pulling back very nicely. First candles with a topping tail, kind of curls up a little bit. You see it's just going sideways on the 10-second here. Last 1 minute candle is a little bit higher volume selling. OCC climbing up to 22. Yeah, Ross talking about kind of the same things that I observed about how this is kind of like if you were to get in on this, it would be just a small base hit, but it doesn't really have that much potential. I thought it was kind of risky back here with that huge bottoming tail. The 1 minute candle on the second 1 minute candle there was higher volume selling. I wasn't really confident about getting in on a micro pullback. And then the 1 minute pullback wasn't clean, so no trades on it for me. Ross said he only got in on his big account because he's willing to take more risk in his big account. I want to wait for something that's clean, that has decent news. So I can start the week off with a nice cushion. If I start the week off red, my first trade, after being red last week and then red the week before, I mean, it carries more risk for me. Yeah, I was hoping we would get a clean pullback on it. Then I could be more confident about taking an entry. But a lot of these stocks, they kind of just pop up on the first few 1 minute candles and then they go sideways or they drop back down. That's pretty much what we've been seeing recently. Soon kind of did the same thing, except it did curl back up, popped up, dropped down, and then it curled back up. That's how I was able to give us a little bit of a move. So maybe this does curl up like Soon did. We'll have to see, but it does have a 5-minute breakout above 3. Then again, it has a huge topping tail on the 5-minute. He's negative on it now. I don't know. It's probably not a good idea to take the 5-minute breakout on this if it does break 3. Already close to 9:15. We're already getting close to the end of the day. For me, at least. I'm probably not going to trade the open today. This ends up selling off. I mean, the news isn't that great. Secures 17.5 million strategic investment. It's whatever. Yeah, I don't like trading under $1. They don't trade cleanly, and they're too thickly traded usually. What is the news on this? It's up 50%. Positive mid-year interim clinical progress. I mean, I do like biotech headlines like this. But it's also a 16 million share float. So in combination with it being a penny stock and having a bit of a higher float, this is just going to grind basically. Increases my exposure risk if I have to stay in it for a long time to get any meaningful profit out of it. I would consider it maybe if it did like a clean 1 minute pullback after a fresh breakout. Like right back here wasn't too bad, except I think that high volume, that selling candle. I mean, it was still pretty light volume, right? 100,000, 260,000 for a penny stock. That's like nothing. Right here would have been the first pullback with higher volume, but it had a big topping tail. Again, right here, pullback, bunch of topping tails. And the third pullback at that point. It's just a grindy stock. Right here, it's pulling away a little bit, but now it's got a high volume selling candle in the 1 minute. Yeah, so I'm still waiting. Hopefully we get something at 9 a.m., but nothing at 9 a.m., then it's going to be another no trade day for me. The only opportunity that I would say that I had today that would have been the easiest money trade would have been back here on soon for this 5 minute breakout right there. But even then, like I said, I wasn't confident with the stock itself being a renewable energy producer stock, being also kind of being a bit of a grinder. And even then, it popped up 20 cents. Probably could have got 20 cents out of it. It was okay, but I don't know. Not very much opportunity today either. Kind of stuck in a hot and cold cycle. I was hoping that we would see more action this week, and we do have stocks moving. They're just not holding up, or they're not holding up well. They're just grindy. Ross, no trades in his small account, one tiny trade in his big account. Yeah, pretty tough. They're pretty tough. I haven't experienced too many hot markets, but I know that during like a really hot market, like when you're leaning to the extreme side, Ross is maybe getting like 10, 15 trades a day. Ross Cameron back in June, July when the Bitcoin thing was popping off, they were releasing all sorts of Bitcoin headlines. All these different companies doing that digital asset treasury strategy. So you would frequently have opportunities on stocks that are popping up. We do have, I mean, like we have the space type of theme, but there aren't that many stocks that have a space theme that they can release headlines and say that they're now a space company or that they're doing this certain thing. Last week on STI, that would have been the stock to trade for the week because it did have that space theme, but it was too expensive for me. Other than STI, it was just kind of mostly chopping sideways. A lot of pop and droppers popping up 50, 60%, which you don't usually see in a cold market. You don't have this many stocks popping up 50, 60% in a really cold market. Whenever news releases, like FRSX popping up to 60, 70%, like that doesn't happen as much. But we're not quite in a cold market, but we're not quite in a hot market, which makes it really difficult to kind of judge how you should approach your strategy for the day. I think right now the way that I'm going to approach my strategy for whether the market is hot or cold is just kind of treat every market as a cold market until I get my first green trade and I see things are moving. If I get an opportunity early on in the day, 7, 7:30, 8 a.m., and there's something that's moving with a good news catalyst that's very clearly strong, then that's when I can kind of sort of decide, all right, the market's going to be a little bit hotter today because this sort of move happened early on, and now there's going to be, FOMO and a bunch of other stocks for the day. So get a cushion, get green, see if there's more opportunities on the same stock on the first and second 1 minute pullbacks. Maybe size up a little bit if the pullbacks look clean. And then kind of check the temp, see if other stocks are popping up on FOMO and moving quickly. If not, then you can kind of assume that that was going to be the only move for the day, and then you size back down to protect the gains. It's 9 a.m. in a minute here. Last chance for some sort of news. FRSX curling back up here a little bit. Wolf popping up, but it's too expensive. FRSX pops up to 312 and then gets slammed back down to 290. Do. So I'll hang around till 9:15, but I'm not going to trade anything at the open. I mean, if we look at the top 5 leading gainers right now, we have IPF XW, which is trading with no volume. It's probably just a merger or something, right? IPF X, oops, IPF XW. Yeah, it looks like it's just an acquisition or a merger or something. An acquisition corp. So SUNE, second leading gainer. It is holding above VWAP, so this would be the most likely candidate to trade at the open for me. But like I said before, I'm not very confident in the stock itself. Probably going to be trading choppy. GM, HS, third leading gainer, higher float, 13 million shares, dollar stock. Popped up after hours, came back up early in the day to retest, but it failed and it's just been selling off the whole day. Sold off more at that 50% of the move mark now. Fifth leading gainer, TNGX, but it's a 100 million share float. Not even considering looking at that. SPHL moving here. Very light volume. On made a move on Friday. It looks like that was a move during regular hours. And on the backside here. I'm not interested in that. Um, I would say that I do notice penny stocks moving a lot more when the market is colder. Like for example, when it was around December, January, like around the market holidays, it was extremely cold, but there was a ton of penny stocks moving. Sometimes they end up as slightly a bit of a theme if there aren't any good news headlines releasing, but a lot of people see penny stocks moving, then more and more people jump onto them because it could be it's always that thing where it's like it could be the next big winner, right? Kind of that rags to riches type of thing. Since you can buy in a lot of shares on a penny stock at like 30 cents, 40 cents with even a small account, and if it goes up to $2, wow, you just made a ton of money. Like how many shares could I buy with maybe 50-cent stock with a $2,000 account? I could buy 4,000 shares. That goes up $2 randomly. Then I can make $8,000 on it. I think that's why a lot of retail traders like penny stocks because of that potential. The percentage moves that you can get from penny stocks are a lot bigger. There was a penny stock not too long ago with a bit of a higher float that made a 700% move from being, I think, sub a dollar up to $3. So if you're the lucky person to get in on the very bottom, then you can make a lot of money. So it kind of has that appeal to retail traders. You look at the flip side, right? If you're buying a higher price stock, like a $20 stock, the most you have is maybe $1,000 cash account. I mean, how many shares could you buy, right? Buy 50 shares. How much do $20 stocks usually go up? Not very much. Not compared to what you can make with a penny. $10 stocks can move at rates of dollars per share if it has really good news, but not as common. And even then, you buy 50 shares, it goes up $5, you know, $250 compared to being able to buy a huge size on a penny. So I think for a lack of anything else, retail traders do like to jump on pennies, but they're still not easy to trade. I mean, they're okay for a smaller account. I know some retail traders in Ross Cameron's community that do trade almost exclusively pennies, and they do make money on them. But I'm also trying to emulate what I would be trading if I were trading with a bigger account in the future. So if I were trading with, you know, $100,000, $200,000 account in the future, would I touch pennies? And the answer would be no, because you have to take a much bigger position size on them to regularly make enough money for it to be worth it. If you're not holding the penny for an extended period of time, the most that you can expect the penny to move on average would be about 10 or 15 cents. So if you're getting in and getting out with slippage, because you have to take a huge position size with a $200,000 account, you might get 1 or 2 cents of slippage on either end. You might only make 4 or 5 cents, but then you're also exposing yourself to a lot of downside risk. If the stock suddenly dumps when you're in with a huge position size, then your risk reward isn't that great. But for breakout traders, trading with bigger accounts, pennies aren't as good, but they can be good for the right strategy. This might end up being the stock that's back in focus at the open, since it kind of is the only one that's holding up. So it could be that the opening bell volume breaks it through 316 here. But the problem with the stock trading at the open is that it started at $1 a share. So the halt bands are going to be pretty tight. So how much, like, I could wait till the open to see what the halt bands are looking like, but I'm guessing it's going to have like less than 25 cents to move before it halts up. So, I don't want to be trading it while it's halting up and down all over the place. At the same time, I've never really been confident in the stock itself. It is up 150%, so you could take advantage of the first spike in volume maybe to get something out of it, but I don't have any cushion on the day either. I don't know. I want to trade this at the open. Yeah, we're not the only ones that think it's quiet. After Ross gets off on his stream, there's another trader that comes on for market open. Since trade doesn't really trade market open anymore. He's also saying that the market was just really quiet today, no trades. A lot of traders in the chat saying no trades. Today is just kind of a dud, I think. Yeah, Ross doesn't trade the opening bell anymore. I haven't seen him trade the opening bell for months now. And John is the guy that comes on for the open market now. And he said that he treated the day like any other. I don't think he took any trades. Yeah, I was hoping we would get some good action this week, considering that the change to the PDT rule, a lot of brokers switched over today. But if tomorrow ends up being another like really slow day, then we're probably just going to be in another cold market again for a while. Things have cooled off again until we get some sort of catalyst that excites things. Maybe the SpaceX IPO, which is this Friday, will get traders excited again. There has been that space theme, but there's not many stocks that can even use that theme to get traders excited. It's a weird time to release news. IQST. $9.22 share repurchase program. Yeah, Ross says he doesn't trade the open market because he doesn't have as much of an edge on the open market between stop orders, market orders, circuit breaker halts. Because of all that extra volatility, it's a lot harder to read level 2 and the time in sales to manage your risk. So Ross pretty much doesn't trade open market at all anymore from what I've seen. He pretty much just shuts it down at 9:30 and leaves. Ross got one trade today, but he only made $1,000 on that first pop on FRSX, which is like basically a break even day for him. He made like 1,000 or $2,000. Yeah, there's other people in the chat. Nothing looks interesting. Nothing interesting. Kind of sitting. I don't know. Curious to see what Soon does here at the open, but not sure if I'll trade it. Let's see what it does. I'm just curious to see what the halt bands are. I'm guessing they're gonna be like 20 cents. 20-cent halt bands. My level 2 always lags at market open. I can't see what the halt bands are, so they're a little bit more than 20 cents, I guess. Which isn't too bad. Did you saw a video of Ross where he said he used to only trade open market? So the the market has changed, and what he did is he adapted to the changes in the market. So back before COVID, almost nobody traded pre-market. Like pre-market was very thin. And then COVID hit and a lot of more volume came into the market, a lot more traders came into the market, and the market heated up. And then over the course of the next few years, what happened was more and more traders started trading earlier and earlier and earlier to anticipate market open. And more traders trickled into trading pre-market and then trading the news right when it comes out. And Ross kind of did the same thing. He used to trade exclusively open market, but as time went on, he noticed that there was a lot more opportunities during pre-market. So he kind of just shifted gears and started trading at 7 a.m., waking up earlier at 7 a.m. to trade the news. And then he noticed that his accuracy and his profit loss ratio were much better during pre-market than they were market open. And he started realizing that he at a certain point he realized that he was making most of his money during pre-market. Yeah, I think he just prefers not to deal with halt bands now and not dealing with market orders and stop orders and all that stuff. So he kind of just shuts it down now. It's not that there aren't opportunities at the open. Like he'll occasionally stay to trade the open market if he already has a big cushion on the day, like very occasionally. Like I said, I haven't seen it for a long time now because the market's been so cold for the most part. But he'll occasionally stay and watch open market. But for the share size that he's trading, um, I think his max position size right now is like 50,000 shares. If he's not careful trading that kind of size during open market, he could really get smoked. Like, I mean, just look at any XR, for example. It just dumped from a 96 down to $1.70. On a dollar stock, you would have to take even bigger size. Like this dropped 20 cents very quickly because of the stop orders, right? It has high volatility to the upside, but also high volatility to the downside. Soon looking to break that pivot here. That 5-minute breakout candle at 317. It's got a lot of volume, 4 million shares of volume. This actually would have been an okay red to green move here on that double bottom. False breakout of 316. It does have a 50-cent halt band, so it's not too bad. But, you know, not really sure if I want to trade this. FRSX selling off, any XR kind of dumped. This one couldn't break the pivot. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna shut it down here. I don't really want to trade anything here, and I can't wait all day for something to break the highs and go parabolic. Anyways, so no trade day for me. I don't think I really missed out on too much today. You know, I maybe could have got one trade on soon earlier on this 5-minute breakout candle back here, maybe like 20 cents if I a little bit more courageous. Maybe on FRSX, similar to Ross on that 10-second micro pullback, but I don't know. They're both higher risk trades. I'm still in trade of Rehab right now, so I shouldn't be taking high risk trades anyways. You know, today's a blank day. It's better than a red day. So if we can wait patiently enough to have our first trade of the week be green, then we can get the ball rolling a little bit on earning back this drawdown. I'm trying to return to how I started my uphill green streak at the very beginning of the small account challenge, where I had basically a 3-to-1 profit to loss ratio and a 70% accuracy. Granted, the profits weren't very much, but if I learn to capture more of those profits on each individual trade, then I'll be in a good spot. So I'm off for today. I'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. same time. Thanks for everyone that stopped by today. Thanks, Wrighton, for stopping by. Until then, take care, stay green. I'll see you next time.